in America. Like she was a journalist,
Okay.
and like people like Greta Gerwig and all were inspired by her.
Okay. Okay.
So she wrote this book called Play As It Lays. I mean, you can compare it to like Sunset Boulevard, all of
Okay.
that. So it's basically like this somewhat aging actress, and it's like this later phase of an actress. Like say she's fading into oblivion type of thing, and then it's just that on one side, like her professional and personal life, and personal life is like her marriage collapsing, all of that. So that is one book, and then the second one was this thing called Late Fame. Okay. So this is by this guy called Arthur Schnitzler, I think.
Okay.
So how I came across this is, so there's a guy called Stefan Zweig. So this is someone who I know because of Wes Anderson. So you've seen Grand Budapest Hotel, right?
Yeah.
So like in the beginning of Grand Budapest Hotel, like it's written this is based on the works of Stefan Zweig.
Okay.
So like even Wes Anderson, he was like he was just trying to write something in his style. Okay. And I think maybe like 5 years back or something, I just looked up this guy because he said this was like I found Grand Budapest Hotel interesting, and then I just wanted to know. Okay. And then I just like randomly started looking this guy up, and then the thing is this guy is some Austrian author, and he's written a lot of these interesting things. Like if you know the tone of Grand Budapest Hotel,
Yeah.
like there's a specific tone, right? Like
Yeah.
even with the humor and
Yeah, the whole whimsy idea thing.
yeah, like very whimsical, like like very nostalgia
Exactly.
type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So this guy, all his books, like all short stories, everything is like that.
Okay. Okay.
In fact, I just saw one thing called there's a short story he wrote called a game of chess.
Okay.
So I was like, what is this? And then that was like one of the first books I bought. Okay, this is the book was called A Game of Chess and Other Stories by Stefan Zweig. Okay, so how that is like it's almost it's very similar to Old Boy. It's like I think maybe Park Chan-wook might have read it before he
It was related
made
to
Old
Old
Boy.
Boy. It was like similar to Old Boy.
No. There's just one sequence in it which is similar to Old Boy. Like in Old Boy, do you remember? Like that famous one take one shot fight scene,
Yeah.
this extended fight
The
scene.
hallway thing.
It's like this 12 minutes thing where he beats up everyone when he's out of prison.
Yeah.
So like the concept behind that was like, so this guy was in prison. Like I think he wrongly went to prison or something. I don't remember Old Boy.
Okay.
And then while he is in prison, he's like imagining fighting people outside.
Okay.
Like he doesn't know how to fight when he goes in, and then once he's out, he's going on this path of revenge thing, right? In that movie, like he's going to avenge like whoever killed. I don't remember Old Boy. And so the idea was like he's in jail and he's just visualizing fighting all these people.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and then he's like this pro fighter.
He thinks
Yeah,
he's a pro
so-
fighter, or he becomes one.
He what?
Does he think he's a pro fighter, or he becomes one?
He becomes one. Like, see, you remember that fight scene, right? It's just this one shot, and
Yeah,
then there's
yeah.
this wall, and in front he's like fighting everyone,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like that was the concept in the movie. Even this short story, is something like that. Okay, it's like there's this guy who goes to prison, and then while in prison, like he starts thinking about chess. And this is like one of the most famous stories about chess. It's called A Game of Chess, and so he starts thinking about it, and then he starts like obsessively doing it while in jail. Okay, and then he comes out, and then he goes on this cruise. And this story is basically like there's this guy who meets this person who came out of jail on a cruise, and then they start playing chess in the cruise ship. So basically the same thing as Old Boy. It's like a guy who went to jail and then he started visualizing.
I remember now.
Get it? Yeah. And he's like visualizing playing chess, and then when he comes out, he's like a great chess player.
Okay.
Is that type of thing. So I found this interesting, and then I was just looking up like, are there other people like this author Stefan Zweig? And then I found this guy. His name is Arthur Schnitzler. And then I found one book of his. It's called Late Fame,
Okay.
and it's just about like 90-100 pages. It's like a novella based.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that book, it was like the whole thing is just a guy who's maybe 70 or something, and then suddenly he becomes famous.
Okay.
it's like you heard of people who have got famous at like 40 and all, right? Like
Yeah.
actors or yeah. I mean, this thing, he's like 70 and then he's a writer and he had written all this stuff maybe like 30 years back.
Okay.
Okay. And then what happens is when he's around 70 to 80, like the elderly phase of his life, like these people, maybe like 7 to 8 people who are somewhat snobs, like they're these literature snobs, someone like these, like so into art and all that. Like one of them discovers his work
Okay.
and they come in touch with him and he say, are you this famous author and all, and he's just basically living just a completely mundane life now. He's a nobody. Like he hasn't received fame when he was in his prime years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a book like that. And then what happens is they invite him and then they start asking him questions. They ask him to read something that he has written,
Okay.
like some poetry or something, and then he reads it and then like everyone applauds, like everyone goes crazy. And they ask him like, what did you mean when you wrote this 30 years back? And then he doesn't even remember. Okay, like he just switched his career and then he started doing some mundane job and then now he's like a nobody. Like he literally like just makes up some answer and just to tell them. And now he's like it's a huge shock to his world. He's like 70 and now he's suddenly famous. He's like the acclaim I should have gotten like 30-40 years back I'm getting now. And so he starts like that starts going into his head. Like he starts becoming like if someone doesn't recognize him now, he's like, oh, how does this guy not recognize me? I'm a famous guy.
Oh.
Although it's just like this group of 7 to 8 people who know him. It's like imagine some like film star or like film director now who like when he was in his prime, like nobody even looked at their work.
Actually, yeah.
Like some Kamal Swaroop or something.
Yeah, or even Shyam Benegal. I think Shyam Benegal, people still looked up to him. But
Yeah, but
I don't think so. Nobody's ever spoken about him in pop culture or the existence of his films or the importance of his films in the last decade or the last 15 years. That is what I'm sure about.
And like now suddenly it's like more cool to talk about all these older greats and all, and now he's
Yeah.
like brought back into fame.
Yeah. But
So I mean this book is somewhat like that.
yeah, but I still don't think so. People still talk about the greats. Like you hardly hear about any of the great 70s, 80s filmmakers anymore.
I know, but at least in like film circles the name is more
Sure.
prevalent,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like forget Shyam Benegal. Think of like Kamal Swaroop.
Kamal Swaroop, yeah.
It's like nobody talked about that except for like a room full of people.
Yeah. At max.
And suddenly it became like cool to watch this film. Like, oh, this is, like I heard someone say this is my favorite filmmaker or all. Like,
They've
one
probably
movie
seen
of this and he saw it now.
just one film of his at max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, I've seen Pulp Fiction. I am a Tarantino
Fact.
file. Now I'll get a T-shirt which says written and
Directed by
Quentin
Quentin Tarantino. But yeah, I mean, that's I think that's more like a norm these days. Like people start doing such things just to be a part of the pop culture, and it is also on us how to bring all the right kind of filmmakers into limelight as well. And because I think they deserve the credit that because they've made some great cinema. Like I think apart from like a few bunch of people wouldn't recognize or appreciate work of Sai Paranjpai either. Like Sai Paranjpai made Chashme Baddoor and David Dhawan made a remake of that film, which is, I think that is the film that they'll remember, but not the older one by any chance. I mean, you cannot even compare the newer one with the older one. Like it's a different breed, it's a different class altogether. Because when I watched that...
But that's not the main type of Sai Paranjpai movie, right? Like she made other like middle class kind of stuff.
True. But I think that was also something which was like a part of her over. Like I think Katha in my opinion was the best thing that she did. And
Sparsh.
Yeah, sorry. Sparsh as well. Yeah.
Sparsh.
But I still think Katha is my favorite because just the simplicity of storytelling. Right. She's just taken a basic tale of the tortoise and the rabbit and she's placed like characters like that, and the film is literally about those two characters and she sticks to that. It's fairly simple, but it's supremely enjoyable the way it's directed. So I remember I just point out one scene. So Farooq Sheikh comes and starts living in that chawl with Nasiruddin Shah. Okay.
Which is this Chashme Badur?
No, I'm talking about Katha.
Okay.
And what happens is Farooq Sheikh becomes like the talk of the place. Like he's suddenly going to people's houses because he's a jobless person. And so Nasiruddin Shah walks back to his chawl, like to his house in the evening, and we see Farooq Sheikh standing amongst the all the major people living in that chawl, like the major characters and all. And he starts telling them a joke. And something that appears on screen is the word censored. Like I was like, who would have thought of, from at least Indian perspective, or probably even leave that, just the Hindi film perspective, nobody would have thought of a joke like that. Like it just shows censored and he's talking behind and they're all laughing and you don't hear the joke.
So it says censored on the screen.
Yeah, it just says censored, but you can see he's telling them joke and they're all laughing. That's it.
Oh.
Like the word censored appears on screen in a diagonal format and they laugh. I mean, these are like small things that I'm talking about, but there are obviously major things that all of them have done, like even Shyam Benegal or Govind Nilani, although they were like fairly dramatic, but the kind of stuff that they've done, like even if you take Shyam Benegal's Kalyug, which is an adaptation of Mahabharata, the way he's directed that film, and every small detail, like small dynamics between characters, I don't think so anyone has ever replicated that kind in Hindi cinema after that. Probably like somewhat close would be Dil Dhadakne Do, like a family dynamic, and each character, like two characters will have a different set of dynamic, and it will be very subtle. Like okay, this character and this character have a certain relationship, this character and this character have a certain relationship, but it's not done through dialogue or something. It's even if it's done through dialogue, it's very minimal. I mean, Shyam Benegal and filmmakers like these should be spoken more in pop culture, just so that, they deserve every bit of fame. I think the right kind of filmmakers or the right kind of cinephiles do appreciate filmmakers from the past, but that's a very few number.
But it's only now that people, given proper appreciation. I think like before it was like, this is like the art house section.
Yeah. Marginalized section. There was also this one more thing, most of these films are not available everywhere. Like Shyam Benegal has made some 20 or more films. I don't have a count, but he's made
Suraj K
Suraj Ka Satwa Ghoda. That is available.
Yeah.
But there are few films that are not available anywhere. Like I've checked, like I've gone through the whole internet to find those films. I've probably found some torrent prints, but I cannot download them because there are no CDs or something. That is a very different problem. But there are some films that you cannot find anywhere. So I feel like obsessively looking for his films and all, like just to have like his collection and like watch them. And also another problem that we have is all these companies that are restoring all these prints. The biggest issue is they've literally cut it down, the runtime of the film. Like a 2 hour 40-minute film is now a 2 hour film now. Like how do you even justify that? I have no idea. Like I was watching Govind Nilani's Thakshak, and the print on Amazon Prime was 2 hours 1 minute, and the original runtime is 2 hours 46 minutes. So how do you even like water it down to that thing, and like how do you even like enjoy the whole thing?
What's the name of the movie?
Thakshak. THAKSHAK.
Talking about AK.
Oh, great segue.
Bro, I think we lost like 100 people now talking about this. It's okay.
But like what is your take, or like how do you think they used fame as a satirical aspect in the film?
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. So in that book I was talking about, it's like I can spoil it, right? No one's gonna read this.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
It's very obscure. Okay. So in the end, it's like so basically this guy, they ask him, can you write something new? Okay. So this guy in 40 years he hasn't written a single thing. So obviously he's like rusty, he's like completely out of touch. He can't write anything new. And he keeps saying, okay, in like 1 week I'll write something and I'll give it to you, like a new poem or like some book or something. And then that becomes 2 weeks, then it becomes a 1 month, and then everyone's like, is this guy okay? Like, and then he stops showing up for the meetings where he's being praised. And then finally he's like, okay, I can't take this pressure. I'll just go admit it. Like, I can't write anything new. Okay. And then he goes there and admits it. And then everyone is like, it's fine. It's understandable. Like, see, this is a guy who didn't get the fame when he needed it.
Probably, yeah.
And then that happens at a meeting. And everyone's like, okay, it's fine. You didn't need to lie to us. It was fine. And then he just goes around and talks to people. And then one by one, he realizes out of a group of 10, only one guy has actually read his work.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like a bunch of people just praising out of nothing. And then he goes to the one guy and then he's like, actually, I just read the first 5 pages. And then, so I don't really know how it ends of your book or whatever. So actually, I was thinking of something like that. And then even something like Birdman,
Yeah.
even that's dealing with fame, right?
Exactly. Yeah, right.
It's more like this washed out guy who's now a theater actor and then he wants to direct this thing that will, maybe give new...
Make it revolutionary.
Yeah, like a renaissance he's expecting.
Yeah.
And then nothing comes out of it.
Yeah, but I think that's a really great aspect in terms of all these narratives. Like, they push you as a viewer also to think, okay, yeah, now he's also going to push himself to achieve something. But eventually there's no point to it. And I think that aspect of it really fits very well in that AK versus AK narrative. Like, you think there's something big that is going to happen, and eventually it's a very middling ground that where it ends. Like from a very neutral viewer's perspective, I know I'm going to have a certain set of expectations, and the way it was building to that finale, I thought something explosive or something really crazy might happen. But eventually it was something very normal that you've seen. But it also really fits the context as well with the film. And also fits the point that we're talking about, that you think that fame is really going to lead you to some point, but it's actually nothing. There's no point to it.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen AK vs. AK, please go watch it and then come back and listen to this.
Yeah.
So, but what about... I don't think they went too deep into that idea. Like, this is a actor who's like a nobody, so like washed out now.
Yeah. But I think just the whole real-time aspect of the film, the film inside film wala aspect, just the whole real-time thing adds to the whole experience. You don't need to really delve deep. You just pick things, small things, maybe throughout the narrative, and just enjoy what is happening to that character in that moment. That can be paranoia, that can be fear, that can be happiness, that can be some adrenaline rush. But you just experience what is happening to that character at that moment. So obviously you cannot have you do have a moment where he sits down and like he delivers a monologue. Anil Kapoor delivers a monologue, which is in a different film that would have been him contemplating all of that in probably like alone. And here it's a more theatrical version of all of it, because he's playing a heightened Anil Kapoor personality of himself. But even this has that kind of moment, but you really don't get to see the fame aspect of it, because it's already established. Okay, yeah, he's a big star, and you get on with that.
Oh, and then like we talked about, it's like heightened a lot, right? Like if you said that, like how in the first scene, it's like it gets into a comical fight.
Exactly.
So why do you think they did that? Like, why do you think they made it that level? Like, they could have made it,
Yeah.
like, say, how they behave in interviews and all, if you see them.
Yeah.
And then keeping that grounded thing, you could have added something new. Instead, they went to like, okay, like Anurag Kashyap is like an evil guy who's like, kidnapping someone. And
Yeah, I mean, they went for that kind of side as well, so that it becomes easier to express those kind of emotions as well. I mean, I'm just talking a very basic thing, but it becomes easier to communicate to the viewer as well if you go that deep. But leaving that, it's just that it's not a meta film in my opinion. Okay, neither I feel it's a mockumentary, because if it was that, then they wouldn't do those things, because those people are not that kind of people as well. Like, they are acting like someone that really takes away the fact that that it's a mockumentary in a way, or a meta film, in my opinion. Like, this was more like a thriller, and you enjoy that part.
And they didn't what if it was just the concept? It was not these real life people. Like, what if it was just an actor who is angry at a director? Like, how would that have worked? Because I think like at some point they lose this thing that this is Anurag Kashyap, this is Anil Kapoor.
True.
And then it becomes like just the story aspect of it goes on.
Yeah.
Because like the whole meta thing happens in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. That's mostly it.
Because if you see like actual meta movies and all, like what are so-called meta movies, like something like John Malkovich or like adaptation.
Yeah.
So like the meta thing continues, like
Till the end.
adaptation they go to the extent like the third
Exactly.
act of it is a whole joke based
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the first like what is message.
True.
Like it's like that level of, so like somewhere there's an expectation that this is gonna like snowball into something newer and newer and newer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead it became like halfway this is one thing, next half is another thing.
Exactly. And I mean, I think we should appreciate the fact that it's a different breed. It's not trying to ape something else.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have easily aped any meta film in a way, to be very honest. But I think there's the idea of treating their treatment of it as a thriller, just give it a different dimension. Like you don't expect what is going to happen, and you don't even expect the kind of ending that it has, even though it's like supremely average. You don't know if it's going to come, and I think that's a very great part, in my opinion.
Like even I found it like very comical, like it's intentionally comical, but then I found it like, what do you say? It's just like you're just wrapping this thing up now.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Like I didn't find that part like delivered that much and all, but then still,
Also,
it wasn't like
yeah. I mean, leaving all of this apart, I'll just talk about something else as well. Like, this is a film about fame and all of that, like what we've been speaking for a while now. But
is it like they
Exactly.
sort of divert from that?
exactly,
pretty
they
early on,
divert
right?
from that whole fame fact, because I think fame also adds a lot of wonder for the characters. Like, there's a lot of amazement that is there. I mean, here it's more like just people meeting and just them trying to get selfies at max. There's no cinematic wonder to it. So that idea, what I'm trying to say is just the whole real aspect of it as well. Like you're just documenting someone, sort of documenting someone, also adds something as a different dimension to it. Like you don't see the charm and the wonder of fame actually. You're just seeing the grunge part of it. Like him going
I
through
mean, it's
slums
not
and
even
dancing.
about fame. Right? It's just like when you see from Anil Kapoor side, it's just maybe it's talking, it's like brushing on that thing. But then it's mostly just like on one hand, it's just this behind the scenes thing about what happens in a film industry.
Exactly.
All of that.
And a lot of some cheeky jokes that like someone going on a scooty nearby, Anurag Kashyap says, "Oh look, that's Anurag Basu." I mean, that's a very cheeky joke.
yeah.
Like, you probably would have heard it somewhere as well. Like, that's probably an inside joke amongst them. But it's funny because at that moment when it happens to someone, you find it funny. So I mean that's a very good thing. Like I mean there are just small things that like I appreciated in that film, and there's a lot of critical air around it, like people not liking it and all of that. So
I mean, I think it's because at some point it just becomes like one guy chasing another guy type of movie. But it can combine with the rest of it, like the
Exactly.
themes it was dealing with. But I don't know, like it just like it becomes distinct at one point. That's mainly what happened. And bro, what other movies can you think of that deal with like
something just came to my mind
inside
was
celebrity life or something?
yeah, something just came to my mind was last year we watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood together, right?
Yeah.
And I'll just tell what the people's perspective was towards what I'm going to talk as well is like most of the people who were quote unquote Tarantino fans or just fans who wanted to watch a Tarantino film in theater were fairly disappointed with that film, right? And especially with that whole Sharon Tate part. And
Yeah.
just for people who probably would want to know what exactly I'm talking about is like just Sharon Tate driving around and going to parties, dancing,
And Brad Pitt driving around.
and Sharon Tate, going and watching film where she stars, like where she's starring herself as well. I mean, what I appreciated in that was, imagine Tarantino took a very real person, he put it in his film, and he gave her his interpretation of how that star would behave in that moment. Like she's living that life. You see her walking, right?
Yeah, she's giving like a lift to people.
Exactly.
And, like, helping out
Exactly.
others,
Exactly.
Like, taking a picture with people. That's like today someone might like that might take a selfie. It's like
Exactly.
that kind of
Exactly.
parallel.
And that whole aspect of an actor also going and watching herself on screen. Just the whole idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that just gives so much to the viewer. Like, I don't know if people were able to absorb the fact that she's a real person as well, because people are bound to expect caricatures of real life personalities, right? That's like the easiest way to spoon feed people. And just the whole idea of her going to a theater and watching herself on screen, and laughing and just looking at people's reactions. She just turns back a few moments where she, I think on screen she falls down or something. She fumbles with suitcases, and people are laughing, and she just looks back at them, just turns back slightly and smiles. She knows people are enjoying that performance. And as an actor, as a viewer also, you feel what that person is feeling at that moment. So it's not just the actor that's doing, that's just a real life person as well. So that was something very real, like a very tangible moment, in my opinion.
No, so in fact, like, but just talking about like driving, the scenes where people are driving around and all. But that was like one of the best parts of the movie, according to me.
Actually, yeah.
See, like, I'll just watch any scene if it's like just well made and it's just like fun to watch. And it's just like, that Brad Pitt driving scene is like driving like crazy through this traffic.
Exactly, yeah.
Like he's just dodging in and out of traffic and then just going at full speed like this. And it's like the night time. You can see, and there's this particular sound of this like engine whirring.
Yeah.
It's just so well made. Like
yeah, true.
You saw it twice. After the first time, the first thing I searched is like Brad Pitt driving, okay? I just went on YouTube and searched it. And just to see that scene. And then someone had actually made a compilation of like Brad Pitt driving scenes in this movie.
Okay.
I was like, oh shit, like actually people are thinking like this.
Yeah.
Like people like scenes like this. But that became like one of the main qualms people had about it.
Exactly.
Like, why do we have to watch Brad Pitt driving around this place?
I mean, that's so fun to watch. I mean, it was fun to watch for me. Like, both of us went to watch it twice, and both of the times in
it's
theaters.
such a good soundtrack. Like, everything is good about it.
Yeah, right.
Like, I maybe they were expecting like, what is happening? Like, what will happen next? This happened. So, like, what is next in the plot, bro?
That's because people are contaminated with just the whole idea of something should happen. Just the whole idea of like, why isn't something happening? I'm like, you just sit back and enjoy,
this
man.
guy, Woody Allen made some TV show. It's called Crisis in Six Scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
And you know how Woody Allen movie is, right? It's just like it can meander, it can go anywhere. It's not like this plot thing of this episode. And then like halfway into this shoot, I think all the producers, they pulled the plug or something.
Yeah.
He eventually completed it, I guess, and then he himself went on record and said like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about TV today. And I think this, because of this, like everyone wants like, what is happening? Like, what happened next? What will happen next? I'll go to IMDb synopsis and read.
Or just go to some comment section and see what's happening.
Yeah, it's like, why watch a movie? Just go and read the synopsis, no?
That's what Biswa said.
Yeah. But explain.
What?
The Biswa thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we were watching some podcast, right? What podcast was that? Biswa.
I think it's Kenny's.
No, it was some podcast. And
Biswa, by the way, who has made a TV show, he wrote a full TV show.
Yeah, he wrote Lakhon Mein Ek, which is actually a really good show. Like, I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I saw it in some podcast that he doesn't really like watching films or movies or shows or something. He just reads the synopsis and he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have an issue if people do it. It's just that people fail to appreciate as well, like, what's great. That's...
No. So what he said is like, he 5 minutes into something, he's like, why am I watching this? I can just go read the synopsis.
Because people have separated the whole experience aspect of it from
the
whole film television thing. Yeah.
And I think they forgot like the fun is in the watching. It's like
exactly.
I told you, it's like why listen to songs? Just read the lyrics. That's fine, no?
Right.
Same experience.
Yeah. I mean
bro. So
like right now, I think there's also one more thing. Like, people watch films just to analyze it. I'm like, how is that even fruitful in any way?
There's too much analysis.
Yeah, just fucking watch it and enjoy.
Yeah, it's just like I'm used to just like watching random scenes. Like, I'll go to YouTube and then I might have the movie with me.
Yeah, right.
But still, I'll just go to YouTube and like movie clips and all.
I do that
just
a lot.
Simply go watch it.
I think the most recent thing that I did was I watched a scene from Phantom Thread. Just the whole opening opening like 5-10 minutes. But that's
Watch
like
the first 10 minutes of Phantom Thread.
like it was just the whole, like I just watched those 10 minutes. It was so calming. Just watching it.
Bro,
And,
that whole movie is coming. I saw it in the theater.
yeah, dude.
There's one scene where this is soundtrack. Like, actually, this is one track in that whole album. Like, people don't really appreciate. It's called Endless Superstition.
Mm-hmm. When does it come usually? I don't remember the.
So, like, they've gone on a date or something, and then they're coming back in that car, you remember?
Yeah.
And then they're in that car, and then they visit this guy's, like, some sort of ancestral home or something.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it's just played when the car is just going into the house,
Right.
and it's full night.
Right.
And then inside, this guy is talking about his mother, like this mother's photo is there.
Yeah.
And then he's talking about like some dress they
He made, yeah.
made or something
Yeah.
like that. It's just one track it plays during that. It's like the perfect track for like, gothic romance, that type of thing. Like it's so like,
Yeah.
it's so ambient.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think the film actually is a sort of, in a way, has taken elements from gothic films and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I heard it in Mark Kermode's review that was also like sort of an interpretation of Beauty and the Beast in a way. Right. Like not exactly like an interpretation, but just like some elements of that whole thing. And imagine just
Yeah, like
and just putting like some screwball comedy in there and just putting some
bro, like I.
oh yeah, perfect film to end this
Yeah.
episode.
Let's
I-
analyze that film, bro. Let's
Shankar-
analyze all the songs.
Shankar masterclass, visionary director Shankar.
Yeah.
But actually, did you like I?
Huh? Like I just watched for fun. Like it was like
Yeah.
a lot of things were cringe, but then I saw it in the theater. It was like just fun
Yeah,
to watch.
I mean, I
that's all.
was like, yeah, I think we were all having expectations at the time we watched it as well. Like most of the people.
It's like the biggest expectation for any movie. Like we saw a trailer and we're like, what the, like how does this even match?
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
None of the scenes, like the colors don't match. Like what is happening? It's like Vikram and three characters. Everyone thought it was gonna be like Onion again.
Probably, yeah. And those like they were reuniting after like some 10 years or something, right?
Mhm.
And that was a big disappointment. But I think that was a great effort in a way. But I don't think so.
Yeah,
Shankar is going to
all
change
of his
his
movies are like very
revenge.
good efforts at least.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What?
Shankar is going to move away from that revenge wala aspect from his films.
But it's good, no? It's like
True. I mean,
he's doing too much like technical experimenting, but then actually his smaller movies like in Onion, I think he's inspired by like Evil Dead and all. You know that like
right, the
is
hair
in front of
falls
the
on camera. Yeah, right.
And there's this one sequence where there's this fight scene and he's going through doors and it's shot very much like Evil Dead.
Right.
And then just the
Yeah.
hair, bro, like it's such a small detail, but it's like he's thought of it that time.
Exactly. Like that was
Like
some 16 years now, right? 2004 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there's one character whose hair comes forward, and so then that becomes the differentiating factor. Like eventually it becomes like you see the hair, you know what is happening.
Exactly. I mean, that's like super great direction. And then
Yeah,
he
bro.
followed it up.
But coming back to this, like see how Sharon Tate is depicted,
Yeah.
because that's also a real person, right? It's not the person playing the person, but
Yeah.
so like what is the difference? Like how do you not make how do you not make it overly caricaturish?
I mean, I really can't answer from an actor's perspective, but like from what I've read and seen in videos and behind the scenes, like most actors tend to watch those actors in like videos through video archives or photos or something, right?
No, not from the acting point of view. I'm saying like, see, in this, like this guy kidnaps this guy's daughter and all.
True, yeah.
Like, how do you approach putting someone who's real on screen?
I mean, just the idea of him being himself, like you don't have to think you're being someone, just become that person yourself. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but
So basically, he's playing himself, so he doesn't have to put any
exactly,
extra
for
effort
him it's a
to-
different thing.
Yeah.
And also I think with Sharon Tate, we've never seen her real life thing, to be very honest.
yeah.
Like I think probably 80% of the audience that went and watched probably wouldn't have seen Sharon Tate apart from her films, right? So that added some mystery layer that however she performs is going to be a very neutral perspective. Like you cannot judge her on the basis of like that. Like probably like if we've seen like Sanjay Dutt and then watching Sanju, you get some visual cues by Ranbir Kapoor, yeah, that bent shoulder and that little
Yeah,
hunchback
it
thing.
seems like he's doing it to look like that.
Exactly. That's also because we've seen a lot of Sanjay Dutt as an Indian audience, right? So, I mean, that's a different case. But with Anil Kapoor playing himself and with Anurag Kashyap, people have their own interpretation of who Anil Kapoor or who Anurag Kashyap is. I'm pretty sure they weren't like this. Just took just the essence and a hint of their normal lives and just increased it by a notch. So, that becomes a little more cartoonish, not caricaturish.
Oh, actually, like talking about Sharon Tate, Bruce Lee is caricatured in that, right?
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like he does talk like that in some interviews and all, but it's still
Yeah, like if you
intentionally over the top.
True. But I never really thought of it beyond just that character in the film, to be honest. I just enjoyed that whole part, like where even like Brad Pitt's character mocks him, and that was pretty much it. Like I just enjoyed that whole scene, and it ended. It didn't go beyond that for me. Okay, like I am sitting back and like thinking about his performance. Oh, you were caricaturist in that. So as a whole, if
even Steve McQueen comes at this Playboy party,
right,
for one scene or something, and then like I've never seen him being like that. Like, I don't know his interviews and all.
Right.
I haven't seen his interviews, but like in his movies, I've never seen him act like that. And I don't know. It seems like he just made that up.
And that's the thing that I'm talking about. Like you really don't have to play it out as that person is in real life. You just or that person was in his films. You just pick a certain tone for that. I think that is how you should really go about it. Like in real life, De Niro wouldn't really go with his eyebrows up and like eyes closed and like
Yeah.
It's just normal. That's I think the best impression of De Niro was done by Scorsese himself. That's because he knows him very personally. So I think he did it on some talk show. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. I don't remember. But I thought looking at that, that's probably the best De Niro impression because he didn't overdo it. He just did it as he's seen him, right? Like he just took his real life.
It's like one some essence thing, and then that becomes the impression.
Exactly. Rather than just one. Like even like Shah Rukh Khan's impression is very overdone with and all of that. It's not really like that, right? You just overdone it in pop culture so much that it really hammers into your head. Okay, he actually is this way, but he's actually not this way.
Like it happens on SNL and all. Like there will be some guy who imitates someone who's in real life, maybe a politician or something like that. And then the thing is like they make up some quote and then they realize like they've never even said that in real life. And then they make the person in real life say that quote like whenever they go to places.
Oh, was it Mark Wahlberg thing that you're talking about?
No, this is one old thing. There's guy Dana Carvey.
Okay.
He's like this early 90s SNL like big name then.
Okay.
Just preceding Sandler and all.
Okay.
So this guy, when George Bush's dad, what's his name? George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, the senior.
Yeah, so he made some impression of him.
Okay.
And then the only catchphrase he did was, not gonna do it.
What do you mean you're not gonna do it?
Not gonna do it.
You are too gonna do
Not
it.
gonna do it.
You are gonna do it.
This is the full impression.
Yeah.
Then people are like, nobody's even seen this guy say that. Then how did this guy even make it?
I mean...
And then there's a lot of things like you take some inflection of like someone saying something and then that becomes the whole impression.
I mean, I think that may also be the reason like some people... Because they have a certain set of expectation. Oh, this guy's going to do this, but he actually doesn't go and do that. And that really disappoints people. I mean, why did you have expectations in the first place?
What did you think about Anil Kapoor's acting?
I think it was really good. I think putting
it was really good. Like it seemed very real. Like that actually didn't seem like even in these forced scenarios it didn't seem caricaturish or anything.
Right. At no point did it become. I think Anurag Kashyap fumbled at like 1-2 points, but I think people might miss those things.
Yeah, I mean like nobody expects him
exactly.
to do
But at some points he was like so good. Like when he did those reactions, I was like, oh my god, that is great. I mean, if I mean, how do I explain that thing? But that one scene, are we giving out spoilers?
We can give spoilers from now. If you haven't, no, I said no. If you haven't seen it, come back.
Okay. So anyway, like at some point, Anil Kapoor gets hit by a car, and that's in the trailer as well. And Anurag Kashyap is left behind actually in that chase, and he comes in huffing puffing, like 5 or like 10 minutes later or post Anil Kapoor's monologue, and just that whole sly smile on his face when he asks, "Okay, when that camera lady tells him he got hit by a car." And that smirk that comes on his face. Did you get that shot? I was like, that was super.
Like you're expecting some like, let's go to hospital.
Yeah, I mean that was really good. I mean that reaction, and even in
Just
some
the delivery was so good.
exactly that timing was. If that timing would have been bad, no, that whole effect would have been like useless. Yeah, even in others.
In fact, I don't know how they would have gone about in the making. Like, you know, that they know how it is.
Right.
And then, I mean, I don't know, maybe they did workshops and all.
I think they rehearsed for a while for sure, because I don't think so. Otherwise, they would have gotten that chemistry, that whole open nature of being buffoons in front of each other, in a way. But yeah, I think his acting was like supreme. I think something that I'd also like to talk about would be music. I mean, it almost goes unnoticed because it's so good and it complements
Yeah, I
the
didn't
narrative
notice
so
it, I
well.
told.
It complements the narrative so well that you probably like fail to notice it was that good. Even Swapnil Sonawane's camera work. I mean, partly the film was shot by the girl herself, but just the guy Swapnil Sonawane directing her was some great work. Like it was one of the best.
So the girl in the movie shot the half of the movie.
Yeah. Like right. But just
And she's not a camera person, she's just an actress.
right. Just the whole camera work also is like something really great, to be honest. I mean, these are like we can just say okay, they're good. Like I mean, we can go specific as well, but I think just being generalized in that way also like proves our point, because it's actually really, you have to really watch it to know how good actually it is.
Yeah, so would you recommend it?
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's recommended. I'm not sure how it'll last long in people's memories as probably Trapped, Lotera, or the cult following Bhavesh Joshi got, or like Udan's whole thing. But AK vs AK is a very good watch. Like it's a very good watch.
But like Lutera is like, it's remembered for, you know, songs.
Songs, right. And even like the leads acting in it. And Udan also has a separate fan base altogether. And I think similar to all of that, Bhavesh Joshi also developed a different cult altogether. Like when I went to watch that, there were like barely like 20 people in theater that day, because most people had gone to watch Veere Di Wedding. Bro, which film did you watch
I went
actually?
to watch that.
But yeah, I mean that's a good film, Bhavesh Joshi.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how long AK vs AK will last in people's memories, but it's a good film.
But you know how many movies have come out recently where this is the same thing? Like it's some big filmmaker and they made some movie, it sounds very forgettable.
I think that's also
Like,
the
Choke.
Right. But
Like, I'm pretty sure this movie, Mank, I don't think anyone will remember that.
exactly. I think even with Gulabo Sitabo, which came on Prime, I don't think so. People have spoken about it later this year or something.
No, that is like forgotten. Like I was just thinking, like, what is this movie?
Yeah, I mean there have been bunch of. I think that's an issue with respect to online streaming services. I cannot really complain about it, because if you want that kind of freedom to make it for an OTT platform, you also should be prepared that people are going to forget your film very soon. Like it doesn't have any
Even
longevity.
like I'm thinking of ending things. I mean, I don't think there were so many people talking about that.
Right. Like I mean, a bunch of movies. People didn't speak about those films later on after they've released. So I mean, Netflix does give you a lot of freedom in as a whole, but I don't think so.
Even like Irishman, bro. Like, is anyone talking about Irishman now? I think everyone's just forgotten about it.
People did forget about it, but there's a certain small section, like that whole fan base of Irishman, that keeps talking about it. And in my opinion, like I've seen a lot of amongst like the bunch of cinephile people I know, they've been talking about Irishman. I think that is, in my opinion, the only success. I don't think so people talk about Roma anymore. Like,
Yeah, but I like Roma.
no, I'm
I
not
thought
talking
it was
about if
really
it's a good or bad film. I think people haven't spoken about Roma since that awards
Yeah,
campaign
actually.
at all.
Like compared to like Children of Heaven and all.
Exactly. Children of Men.
Children of Men,
yeah.
Men, yeah.
But
Heaven is.
That's like
marginal.
that's like an issue with respect to OTT services, but can't really do anything.
Yeah. So just let's just wrap it up, bro.
Yeah.
So if you have any movies that you want us to talk about, just drop a comment.
Yeah.
Any other topics that you would like to discuss? If you want to, what else? Okay, I have to wrap it up now.
Yeah. Arey, just
Okay, so that's the podcast. So
Yeah.
please drop a like, subscribe. We'll be coming with more episodes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, that's it, right? Anything else? Anything else you want to add, Sanjeev?
Uh,
This is the ending part.
Just
You wanna
like,
add anything? You
subscribe,
wanna add it?
share, and probably we are going to talk about more latest releases and some obscure stuff. Some things that we'd like to recommend as well to people, because this is the purpose of the podcast. Like, we'd like to promote some films that people might have not seen, and this is a great way to check out those films, like to know more about those kind of films. Yeah.
Yes, so let's aim for 10k likes, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sponsored
Goodbye.
Netflix. Bye.
Hasta la vista. Okay, bye.